Wait.
The people at Truck Stop and teamed up with your boy Mark the Mentor. Are you ready to take your trucking business to the next level? With Truck Stop Pro, you get access to the best load board in the game, giving you the tools to find higher paying loads and streamline your operation. And right now, you can try the Pro plan free for 30 days, a $159 value. Click the link in the description to claim your free Pro plan and start making smarter moves for your trucking business today.
Warning: the following content contains strong language and may not be suitable for children. This content is primarily for adults, as this is a trucking channel and truckers have filthy mouths. Please don't tweak if I say. Viewer discretion is advised.
Sweet.
Good morning, good afternoon. How's everybody doing? Come on in, make sure you guys hit that like button. We already got one dislike and I ain't even said nothing yet. Just further proves my point, you know what I'm saying? But here's the thing. I'm finna really piss some people off. So whoever that was, I appreciate you, because I'm finna make you mad. It's probably an Amazon guy. You know, Amazon guys, they don't like me. But I'm gonna include y'all into this live stream today. Shout out to everybody that's in the building. Make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, turn on all post notifications. Shout out to Von Gray in the building. Shout out to Don Solo representing the crib. Shout out to everybody that's in Chicago. Snowing today, been snowing all morning. I was gonna actually do my I was gonna actually shoot my roadie content today, and then I woke up and seen all that snow. I took my ass back to bed. You know what I'm saying? Hey, listen, I said that shit can wait. We'll just wait till next weekend when we go out to shoot our Black Friday, Cyber Monday content with that. We ain't going out there in that shit. So shout out to everybody that's in the city out there hustling, you know, getting to that money in the snow. Shout out to Big Shark. Shout out to Carlito representing the crib. Everybody in the Chicago saying it's snowing today. That means there's money outside. It's snowing. Listen, you're going to make your most money in inclement weather, right? Because that's when people, who don't want to go out, they get lazy, this, that, and the third, you know what I'm saying, don't want to come out, right? So this is when the real hustlers can turn up and take advantage of the demand and the higher prices and go out there and get that money. So shout out to everybody that's in the crib. Shout out to SD Walt. Shout out to Sheridan Forbes. Oscar and Ford says hit that like button for more great content. Shout out to Isdy Walt representing Cleveland. Shout out to Rashad Moore representing Fort Wayne, Indiana. Not too far from Chicago, a little bit east of us. Shout out to Carlos representing that MIAO. Appreciate you, Carlos. Appreciate you. Shout out to Kirk representing the DMV. Kirk says hit that like button. Hit that like button. Shout out to Great Polo. Shout out to, did we get you Rashad Moore? Yeah, you said you representing Indiana. Shout out to D Jenkins. Shout out to Happy to Deliver, representing Falls Church, Virginia. Shout out to D Jenkins for that super chat. Appreciate that.
Sweet.
Shout out to Rich representing the Cridney IU. Shout out to Happy to Deliver. Shout out to Running Warrior representing the Creed. Don Solo said Rhodey busy than a mug. Yeah, I saw Rhodey was busy. Yeah, I was looking at it. But you know, I ain't finna do that. I'm gonna let y'all get there. I'm only coming out there to shoot the content, so I'm gonna let y'all have that. I'll see y'all out there next weekend. We'll have the cameras out next weekend. Shout out to 3 Driss. Is it 3D Riss or 3 Driss? Shout out to you. 3 Driss says snow. See, we already know where 3 Driss is from. You from South somewhere. Yes, snow, Chicago, baby. It's Chicago. Yeah, we get snow up here. It's been snowing all morning. I used to like listen, during them hustle days, this is when you gonna get your most money. Because this is when people want to sleep in and people don't want to come out because they don't want to drive or they don't know how to drive in the snow or they don't have a coat or they don't have gloves and all this little, soft stuff. You know what I'm saying? This is why they be behind the 8 ball. See, opportunities like this where you can maximize your earning potential, you want to take advantage of these, especially in a time like this in the fourth quarter when the first quarter is right around the corner and it's going to get considerably slow. So whatever opportunity that you have to maximize your earning potential and your profitability in times like this, you should take full advantage of them. So it is what it is. So shout out to William Sweet representing Jacksonville. Shout out to J. Cole. Andrew Green, what's going on, representing Jersey. Shout out to Pippi. Shout out to all the moderators of the building. What's going on? All right. So look, check this out. Today I want to talk about the high-low. The high-low game that companies play. The high-low game that gig apps play, which really isn't a game. It's just a strategy. And the reason why I like to talk business is because it's like I always say, if you understand business, you'll succeed. It's the people that don't understand business is the people that you see complaining. It's the people that do not understand business are the ones that you see complaining. And I'm speaking in totality. I'm speaking from a consumer perspective, which is a viewer perspective, to even a hater that hit the dislike button before I even appeared on the screen. These are people that are mad because they can't figure things out, because they don't understand business. Anytime you're in business and you're complaining about things that are beyond your control, that are business related, it lets me know that you don't understand business. Because if you understand business, you know how to play the game that you classify as a game instead of a business. You know how to play it to win, regardless of how the game is played. Once you understand how the game is played, you're going to do what's in your best interest to win. It is what it is. So let's talk about the rates. Why do things start one way and then they end up being another way over a matter of time? We're going to talk about it from logistics perspectives. We're going to talk about it from a logistics perspective, from a gig app perspective. We're going to talk about it from the Amazon relay perspective. And we're going to make a few people mad because in their eyes, they feel like somebody owes them something. And that's just not how businesses play. Listen, business is about return on investment. I had a conversation with Kelvin in the Discord about a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, when the whole Pepsi thing was going on. There was a few other companies that were like, and he was saying like, man, this sucks, man. These people dedicated, their time, and they these companies aren't loyal. Listen, it's business. It's not personal. Stop taking shit personal. It's all about return on investment. Why would a company that's hemorrhaging money? Let's talk business. Hit the like button. Let's talk business. Put your personal feelings to the side, man. If you listen. I swear for God, I want you to get mad. If you feel a certain type of way in your heart, you're not a business person. Listen, at the end of the day, when you're doing business with 3PLs, brokers, whoever the case may be, it's all about a return on investment, period. It's not personal. Nobody's going to continue to hemorrhage money to appease you or to make you happy. You're not going to do it. And if you do it, you a goddamn fool. There's no way on God's green earth. If my business comes to a point where we're hemorrhaging money, we have to start making cuts. And usually those cuts come in the form of jobs, period. If I can get this person to do the job of 2 people and give him a slight bump that's going to ultimately be less than keeping an abundance of people, then guess what? We're going to have to start laying people off. The whole point of business is to make money, get a return on our investment, continue to keep cash flow coming in. What don't people seem to understand about that? And then when I challenge people, I see little sneak fucking comments and shit. When I go try to support people and watch and support their content, I see these little sly ass, sneak disses in the comment section. It just further lets me know people don't understand business, nor do people can educate their audience on business. No one cares, bro. It's not a personal thing. It's all business. It's all business. A company's objective is to stay in the green. So whatever it takes, listen, whatever it takes, that's the objective. You can't be a business person and say crazy things like, oh, well, we were loyal to you. So what? Who cares? No one cares. It's your fault that you believe that this shit would last forever. That's your fault. I had a time where I talk about it all the time. I give you the same example all the time because I have to constantly write. It was a time, it was in 2014, 2015, where the first account that I thought was going to last forever because it was just so profitable. And then when it stopped, because they lost it, it was an eye-opener for me. I'm just thankful that it happened to me early on, and I didn't go out and do what wasn't in my best interest as far as over-leveraging myself with new equipment and things like that. So it was a stinger to me, but the only thing I had to do was just resource those trucks into something different. Trucks were paid, it was cash. I wasn't losing too much. But it was an eye-opener for me. By the grace of God, it happened to me earlier in my tenure. But it was an eye-opener. Nothing lasts forever. I can't rely on any 3PL. When you're in an industry and you're in a business where you're relying on someone who's relying on someone, nothing is promised. Tomorrow's not promised to you. So thinking you're going to run something forever, that's crazy. They can get rid of you. They can get rid of the middleman that you're dealing with at any time. They could phase that whole thing out. So why do you get mad about how another business operates? You're supposed to be prepared. You're supposed to keep this in the back of your mind. Oh, they used us. I told you this 2 years ago they was using you. I told you 2 years ago they was using you. When I was having these fucking informational wars about Amazon, 75% of y'all shitted on me. Now look at you. The content is up. I did a video over 2 years ago that Amazon was gonna start buying their own trucks. You shitted on me. You told me Amazon wasn't gonna wanna buy trucks because they didn't want to put the fuel in the tank. You talking about a company that's almost worth $4 trillion. Do you know how much it costs to drop a goddamn fuel tank in the ground? You think Amazon can't spend a couple $1,000,000, $2 million to drop a goddamn tank in the ground? They spending $100,000 on each charging station for the goddamn Rivians. You want to talk business, or you just want to talk make believe? I know a lot of people disagree with the shit I'm saying, but you can't really disagree because I ain't really told you nothing that was a lie. Only thing I do is get up here and talk business. I don't speak from a personal perspective. I speak from a business perspective, and business don't give a fuck about you. When you truly understand that, I swear for God on everything I love, you'll be a better business person. I was ignorant once upon a time too. And then I had to learn. And me learning made me a more smarter, more shrewd business person. I'm shrewd. I don't care about what you think. Even with me telling you this, I know there's people out there are getting upset. I want you to get upset. I want you to get mad. I want you to hit the dislike button because it's all engagement for me. I don't care. I'm at the crib. I'm not going to sit up here and sit on a soapbox and tell you no shit that don't make me look crazy. It may seem crazy at the moment, like what I was saying 2 years ago about this particular situation. It wasn't the fact I wasn't right. It just wasn't right now at that time because I was preparing you for what was to come so that you wouldn't be in your feelings today. I'm sitting on an earnings call and they telling me what the fuck the plan is. So me telling you what they're saying on an earnings call, I'm getting backlash, and I'm like, little do these people know it. This is coming out of Amazon's mouth. You think I'm making this shit up? Here's how shit works in business. Amazon, Curie, Roadie, GoShare, Uber, Lyft, Grubhub, Uber Eats, Uber Freight, all these new platforms. This is how it works. You introduce a new product, right? And the first thing you want to do is penetrate the market. You create something. Let's use Amazon Relay. It's new, right? We are presenting something to a consumer. Listen, we don't just sell books anymore. We sell everything. You can buy everything, and we'll get it to you quicker than a lot of your other e-commerce stores. This is early in e-commerce, early 2010s. If you don't remember, if you weren't old enough to remember, if you weren't in logistics back then, the average turnaround time if you ordered something from a website online was about 5 to 7 days or longer. Amazon wanted to reduce that, and they started to implement that process in the early 2000s. What you see now is almost 3 decades in the making. Some of you are just either too young to understand, or you just weren't involved. And then the people who are older, you just knew the logistics. If we're introducing something new, Amazon Relay, Uber, Lyft, we have to penetrate the market. All right, so we're introducing something to a consumer. We're spending millions of dollars of marketing it to a consumer. A consumer is going to sign up to the platform. We're trying to take the consumer away from the competitors, which in the case of rideshare, it was the taxi cab. Which in the case of Amazon, it's e-commerce platforms. In order to do that, we have to have service providers. How do we peel people away? We offer them a sweet deal. All right, instead of you taking a taxi cab at this rate, you can take an Uber at this rate. Same service. Now, with them offering that, you're going to have an abundance of consumers rushing in the door. Right? Now we have to have service providers meet the demand of the consumer. How do we ensure that we have enough service providers on deck? Pay them handsomely. See, we already know we operating at a loss. We just trying to penetrate the market. So now you got all these service providers, Uber, Lyft. Think about what people was talking in 2015, 2016. Oh, I'm making $4,000 a week. Oh, this is great. I quit my job. I'm making $4,000 a week just driving people around. They was paying, what, $1 and something a mile back then? Amazon Relay was paying higher rates. A lot of that was due to the pandemic, but it was also because they were penetrating the market. We have to appeal to you because we need you. We need you to meet the demand. So we understand we have to pay. Not only do we have to pay, we have the revenue to pay you. We have the revenue to operate at a loss for as long as we need to until we penetrate the market enough, and then we can start the correction. We're creating the workforce by paying you handsomely. We're peeling you away from your jobs. We're peeling you away from whatever it is you're doing, because what's happening is the people that are doing this rideshare, doing Amazon, on these gig apps like Curry and Roadie and all the gig apps that people were bragging about when they first got on, they're complaining about now, you become the ambassador. You become the marketer for the platform. Oh my God, I'm making $3,000 a week driving for Uber. Oh my God, I just did this run. I made $10 million doing this Amazon Relay run, and I only went 3 miles. So now this encourages other people to start doing a little research. We know people don't do what's in their best interest. They don't go do all the research. They get enamored by these large numbers. That's the point. You're doing the marketing for them. You just don't understand business. You think this shit is going to last forever. These companies have the funds to operate at a loss for years. They used you. Get mad. Get mad. This is why I want you to get mad. They used you, fam. And I told you this 2 years ago. You got mad at me. Now, here's what happens. Every new business, every new company, and the only people that's going to get this is real business people. The naive people who ain't really business people, you're going to be confused, or you're going to feel some type of way in your heart because you think somebody owe you some shit, and don't nobody owe you nothing. This is business. This is how this shit works. Let me explain something to you. Every new business, especially businesses like Amazon, gig apps, Uber, Lyft, when they start with this market penetration strategy, you see growth. Growth, right? They're operating at a loss, but you see growth over a period of time. Now, what happens to every single company? Every company doesn't go up like this, up and to the right, forever. Every company hits a climax. When did Amazon finally hit their climax? Amazon has been on a steady incline for almost 3 decades before it hit its climax. When did Amazon hit its climax? When did Amazon hit its climax? Amazon was going up and to the right for damn near 2.5 decades. When did Amazon finally hit its climax? Let's see who knows. Nobody? Ace Wonder got it, 2022. when they first started laying off people. So since its inception in the mid 90s to 2022, Amazon was constantly growing. Constantly growing. And every company that grows has to hit a climax. And for Amazon, it was 2022. Now, what happens when companies hit their climax? Now, Amazon was already profitable. But let's speak about other companies, right? Uber isn't profitable yet. Lyft isn't profitable. You got some gig apps that are still, in the funding, phases of their business. They're still sourcing VC and angel investors. They're still doing rounds of funding, right? But what happens during the phase where companies are growing, where they're operating at losses, where they're willing to charge the consumer less and pay the service provider more? Now it turns from the growth phase to focusing on profitability. Once we conquer the growth phase, right? Now it's time to focus on profitability. What don't people understand about this shit? What don't you understand about the way business works? So now we grew. We got all you guys on our platform running, and you guys have been happy because you're making money. The consumer has been happy because they're saving money. But guess what? We've pretty much eliminated the competition. There's still competition, but there's less competition because we got rid of them. There's an overabundance of service providers now, but our growth has climaxed now. Now it's time to start focusing on profitability. So what do? We slowly start increasing the prices for the consumers, which they're going to moan, kick, and complain. But guess what? They're accustomed to us now. And then second, they really don't have any more options because we pretty much eliminated a bulk of the players who couldn't compete. And then we lower the rates for the service providers. And then they start kicking and complaining because they didn't understand business and they didn't realize this was going to happen anyway. What makes you think a company is going to operate at a loss? What makes you think a company is not going to want to maximize a return on their investment? Just like you're a business, they're a business. Except they dictate everything. You don't. What do I say? If you're running a business and there's parties involved within the business that you're running, middle 3PLs, whatever the case may be, it should be in your interest to understand the dynamics of that company. Why wouldn't you run Amazon and not be an investor in Amazon? Why wouldn't you want to listen to the earnings calls? Of course, I didn't tell you guys my tricks 2 years ago. Why would I tell you that? I can tell you now because everything I told you was going to happen is all coming to fruition, so I can let the cat out the bag now. But that's your fault. I'm not finna be partners because you like to call yourself a partner and not take advantage of full partnership. If you're running an app, wouldn't it be in your best interest to know what's going on behind the scenes? If you're running Roadie, shouldn't you tap in with UPS to see what their plans are? Like for the Roadie shit that happened recently, the rate drops. What did you expect? Once they build up market saturation for a service provider, there's plenty of people on the app now to service the consumers. Home Depot ain't gonna pay you $50 to go drop off one long piece of wood no more? If they don't have to, well, we could just pay you $38. And now that $38 eventually will probably be 31, and then eventually it'll go from 31 to 25. Why? Because more competition lowers rates. And once the market gets saturated, once we have proof of concept, once we have you accustomed to doing this every day, we know one thing that history has taught us. The only thing you want to do is bitch, moan, and complain, but you're still going to show your ass up and do it. You still got Uber drivers still out here lobbying, complaining. And we see what that's going to get you. What happened in Minnesota? Hit the like button. What happened in Minnesota? They fussed, moaned, complained. Minnesota, Minneapolis said, all right, you know what? You're right. This does seem a little unfair. Hit the like button. We're going to implement some type of tax or whatever they did on the ride share. And what did Uber and Lyft say? All right, no problem. We pulling out your market. Now figure out how everybody in that market, since taxi cabs aren't prevalent like that anymore, all right, y'all figure out how y'all going to get around. You know what? We ain't paying y'all this. So we just going to exit the market. Why? It's not profitable for us to run. I hear what you're saying. It sounds good. But you know what? We ain't looking at it from a personal perspective. We looking at it from a business perspective. We just rather just not even deal with that market altogether. We just pull out. Look what happened in California. The reason why truckers got it so bad in California is because of the rideshare people. Look, they kicked, moaned, complained, and scratched and clawed in California. It was AB5. It's because of rideshare. So Gavin Newsom and the powers that be and whoever else, they took a look at it. That shit worked its way up to the Supreme Court. But here's the thing. They said, listen, we're not going to look at it just from a gig app, from a transportation perspective, just from a gig. We're going to look at it statewide from just a transportation perspective and whole. We're just not going to focus on the gig transportation sector. We're going to look at it from a transportation sector, just from transportation at a whole. I guess the gig workers came out okay, but there was a direct impact, a negative impact because of that affected the truckers. It's business. It's not personal. It is what it is. If you sat there and you think that whatever it is that you're doing, whatever it is that you found, or whatever this new platform that's starting, and you're making an exorbitant amount of money and you're happy about it, and that's fine because you're supposed to take advantages of all situations in business. But if you think it's going to last forever, then you're crazy. Like, no business is going to operate in a negative. And if you haven't taken the time to invest time into investing into that business because you're partner and you're working for that business, to see what the landscape is, to see if they're profitable, to listen to those earnings calls, to see if this company who has been going through rounds of funding, investment funding, and they're to the point where now they're ready to go public, and you know, okay, well, once we're ready to go public, we need to start cutting costs because our ultimate goal is to get a return on investment from or for the shareholders, then that's your fault. if you're a business person and you complain about another business who's getting a return or seeking a return on investment, I don't really look at you as a business person, because you should understand this. You should have set yourself up and been prepared for this. Listen, this company is getting close to, you know, climaxing. They're going to start trying to get a return on investment. They're going to try to start going profitability. I'm hearing rumblings that this company is seeking to go public next year. All right, well, if you hear the rumblings that they seeking to go public, all right, you know they shit finna get tight. They finna start tightening shit. They finna start cutting costs, right? Because now it's a time for return, especially for those pre-IPO guys, because they big come up day is the day they go public. So we got to start cutting costs. A good way to increase revenue for any company is to cut costs. That's one of the easiest, and that's one of the first thing companies do, is cut costs. Whether it's laying people off or reducing rates. This shit is simple business. So any gig app, Level Sports says cut costs is not fair for the employees. So I'm going to drop the link. What do you mean it's not fair for the employees? What do you mean it's not fair? A business's objective is to make money. That's it. No one cares. Listen, if I got a business, if you got a business, are you going to go homeless to keep people employed? If you're hemorrhaging money, regardless of what happens, you could have been operating your business great. You could have been profitable, but something happens that beyond. Link is pinned to the chat, bro. Link is pinned. If something happens that's beyond your control, you want to go broke because a person worked for you for years, or you're going to have to lay them off because that's what you got to do. What you mean they worked for you for years? Okay. You feel a little bad, but at the end of the day, are you a business person or are you a savior? This is what being a business owner entails, making very tough decisions. Is that a tough decision to lay someone off? From a small business owner perspective, I can see where feelings and emotions get involved. But from a large corporate scale, the HR manager who's calling you into the office and laying you off, they ain't got vested interest in the company. They employ you just like you. Their job is human resources. Hire, fire, educating you on policies and procedures within the company, hanging up, posters in the break room on, here's our anonymous number if you've been sexually harassed, or if you've been, if someone isn't calling you by your pronoun, you can call this number and we'll talk to you about it. That's what a human resource person's job is. And they're getting paid to do that. They went to school. They've had to get a degree to have that job. They hire people and fire people every day. They're not crying for every person they fire. They become immune to this shit because it's just a part of their job. What do you mean it's not fair? Life ain't fair. Life ain't fair. But this goes back to what I said at the beginning. I know people are going to get upset, but this separates real business people from just people. You can't run a business off emotions. And this is why everybody can't win. You don't have to agree with me. You don't have to like me. I don't give a goddamn. But I'm not going to sit up here and tell you nothing that's it's not true. I'm not going to sit up here and guess. I take, the information that I give, I take it seriously. Why? Because look at the case studies that come up when I do the call-in show. It's already people being misled. I have a moral compass. I'm older. I don't really care. You know what I'm saying? But here's the thing. I'm going to make sure that you're equipped with the correct information, whether you like it or you don't. Even when I'm giving you information that I know you don't understand, like I was doing 2 years ago and everybody was mad. Everything is coming to fruition. Everything. And people still doubt this shit. So let them be ignorant, bro. Without the employees, the business won't succeed. You're missing the point. The purpose of laying people off is so that the business can continue to succeed. See, you're missing the point, sir or ma'am. When a business gets to a point, for whatever reason, not every case where a business gets to a point where they start, their revenue that's being generated hits a stalemate or stalls out or starts to go down. It could be a new player in town, could be a new entrant. Technology could be the cause of a lack of sales. It could be some type of economical events similar to what we saw during the pandemic. It could be inflation. It could be consumer buying behavior can shift. Whatever the situation is, the business has to transition. You're right. Without employees, a business can't succeed. Right. So instead of us playing 100,000 employees, if we can get the job done with 75,000 employees and save the salary of 25,000 employees and still get the job done, then that's 25,000 employees that got to go so that we can still be in business. It's not personal, it's business. That's the point. I don't think you're understanding what I'm saying. If I got a dedicated curbside route and it's paying exceptionally well because it's a new platform and they're overpaying me because they're trying to onboard service providers, and I know it's a one-man job, but because they're paying so well, you know what? I'm going to put 2 guys on that route just so the job can get done quicker, and I'm still making it out like a fat rat. And then guess what? They hit a point of climax, and now they want to, the growth phase has climaxed, has maxed out. Now they're focusing on profitability, and now the rates go down. I know I can still get this route done with one guy. You think I'm going to continue to let the second guy stay on the truck? Of course not. I'm going to pick whoever the best guy is. I'm going to let him stay, and I'm going to tell the other person, if I don't have anything that I need, I could transition him into, I'm going to have to do the hard thing and pull him into my office, right? And lay him off. I'm not going to hemorrhage money to be some type of Robin Hood, bro. Especially if the company can't afford it. If the company can afford to take a loss on this because we're doing exponentially well in other places and we can take that hit temporarily, then that's one thing. But if it's something that can't be done, then unfortunately, that person or that individual is going to have to be laid off. We appreciate this person's work. We appreciate this person, coming to work every day, going above and beyond, but the company can't afford it anymore. It's your job to make sure that the company goes on. It's not your job to be Robin Hood. Because being Robin Hood consistently, ultimately what's going to happen is you're going to Robin Hood yourself to your company's demise. Now, this person is going to go get another job somewhere else, utilizing your company on their resume to go get them a job, and you're going to have to figure shit out. You're going to have to figure shit out because you wanted to be Robin Hood. You didn't follow basic business practices by putting the business first. This is why I say it's the God, the business, and everything else. After God, it comes business. Business comes before everything. It's your job. It's your obligation. It's your duty to put the business first. The business's interest come first, not nothing else, bruh. You speaking from a person, and if you're a business person, if you're in this industry, we and you need to have a talk because you ain't up here. As far as understanding business, I don't think you understand it all the way. There's plenty of businesses that lay people off. Amazon, they've been laying people off for the past 2 years. Google, Pepsi just laid people off. There's a bunch of companies laying people off. It happens. There's people getting laid off. There's people that are independent contractors that are getting priced out. And check this out. Whether you're getting priced out because people are operating less than you and pricing you out, or people are operating at a loss and pricing you out, who gives a fuck? Yes, I'm cussing because I'm sick of this shit, bro. I'm sick of ignorant people in business, whether they're a consumer, viewer, because they don't want to face reality, even the content creators. This shit is ignorant, bro. Who the fuck do you think you are? Who cares if a person is operating at a loss? Who cares if they can operate cheaper than you? And big business companies operated at loss for fucking years. Uber has been operating at a loss since the fucking 2009. Every single quarter. They put the whole taxi cab industry out of business. Who cares if, why are you so concerned if a person is operating at a loss or not? The problem is people not worried about what's in front of them. Oh yeah, they operating at a loss. Oh, yeah, they taking this cheap freight. That's why I say ain't no such thing as cheap freight. It's so many people worried about cheap freight and this whole cheap freight and what other people got going instead of focusing on what's in front of them. Big business operate at loss for years. For years. So who do you think you is in your one little funky ass van or truck? Who cares? The people who worry about it, what everybody else got going on, that's where you messing up at. Lyft, Uber, all these gig apps, part of their initial plan is to operate at a loss for a certain amount of time to grow. And then they focus on profitability. So it goes back to what I said at the beginning. Who wants to talk business and who wants to talk ignorance? I don't talk ignorance, bro. I talk business. You just been misinformed. And I'm only talking to the people who are upset. If your heart is feeling a certain type of way, I'm talking to you. If you understand business, then you're agreeing with what I'm saying. I'm not pulling this shit out my ass. This is 2025. Business has been going on since before you and I were born. You have real case studies that you can go look at. This is not me sitting up here trying to be the smart guy. This is me understanding business, and I just gave you case scenarios to go do your research on. Even in the industry that you in, logistics, Amazon, Curie, Roadie, transportation like rideshare, food transportation. I even talked about why the rates were high when you got started and why they're low now. Nobody cares about you personally. It's your job to make sure your business sustains. It's your job to make sure that you stay afloat. You spending time chasing big wins. I already gave you the strategy. When I was getting started, my office supply route, those trucks were only generating $100 net a day. I said, all right, no problem. We'll just keep adding more trucks. The more trucks I add, the more money I make. I don't mind netting $100. Some of y'all are scoff at $100. Not me. Okay, if this is the landscape of the way it's played, they're paying a per piece count. I know I can leverage volume and get a guarantee, but even with that, I understand I got to keep a driver. I got to cover the cost of the route. So I know I'm going to make a small profit. So the way I increase that profit is by offering volume. So I have to create a plan so that I can build my fleet up to run this account in a certain amount of time so that it'll be worth my while. So, okay, the first few trucks that I was running, we only making $100, not much money, but no problem because I plan on adding more trucks. So this is the growth phase to get to the end phase. And then once we get to the end phase, I put that shit on autopilot. What are you talking about? This is why I'm sitting here right now. Like y'all, some of these people act like they just come from like rich ass backgrounds. Man, we all came from nothing. So to sit up here and act like you want to chase these big wins, man. At some point back in the day, I'd have been happy if I would have made $50 or $75. And some days and some routes I only made. Some days I didn't make shit. Well, Mark, you had a moving company too. That's where the big chunk of money came in at. Okay. It was a separate company. And guess what? Half of you people ain't finna get out there and do this shit. You're not finna do that type of work. You lying to yourself. You know you ain't finna get out there and do that shit. You know you're not. So don't even play yourself. Don't even think about it. Focus on this trucking shit, this Amazon, this Final Mile, this OTR shit. Where these big wins, all these big wins consistently going to come from? In an ever-changing market, in a fluctuating market, in an ever-changing economy. How can you keep big gains consistent? You can't. It's about cash flow and keeping cash flow coming in. Did I send trucks sometimes that might have not been worth the while of what the job might have entailed for a small profit? Absolutely. Absolutely. I sure did. Why? Because it contributed to more cash flow and it just got added to the pie. I talked about this guy, Tyler, who, God rest his soul, he got killed to street violence. And I always talked about how I let him run one of the vans to do Container Store. We got paid $11 a stop. I gave the full $11 to Tyler. I operated that one particular route at a loss. Why? Because I had other things that we got paid exponential that we could cover the loss. Guess what? That route could have went to another independent contractor in Chicago. But it didn't. They probably would have made a small profit. But too bad. I'd rather keep the young brother off the street. I wouldn't have taken that route, right, from Select at a loss and hemorrhage money from my company if I couldn't afford to do so. But because I could afford to do so, and if it was for a good cause, I did. And unfortunately, after it was all said and done, 2021, Was I supposed to not take advantage of my situation for exiting to continue to save people? It's business. I'm gonna do what's best interest for my business. And if now is the time to part ways, and some people are gonna have to go back to the street or whatever it is they got to do, then it's unfortunate. Some people transition. One guy, Tim, he went and got his CDL. One guy that worked for me, that was one of the early people that worked for me, that was one of the last people that worked all the way through, he's homeless now. I swear for God on everything I love, he's homeless. I swear to God, he's homeless. Is contributing factors that I close the doors? It's a possibility. It's a possibility. But it's my job to do what's in the best interest of my business and me. And as cold hearted and as shrewd as it sounds, don't pay y'all gas bill. Don't pay your light bill. Don't pay your rent. Don't pay your mortgage. All these companies that you contribute utility, you pay your utilities, you pay your rent, you pay your living expenses. All these are businesses. Don't pay them for a social experiment, but come up on some type of hard time where you can't pay them. Do you think they care about your plight? They're going to come cut your shit off. So with all the case studies that you can use in your real life, I still see people, viewers and content creators, complain about dumb shit. I see people complaining about other people's businesses and how they feel like they being treated unfairly. Business is business. It's not personal. It's business. Return on investment. Business are going to do what they have to do. You got to do what you got to do. The blueprint has always been the same. I was talking in the Discord yesterday. Somebody asked me, I forgot, maybe it was 5-star, somebody else, about Amazon Relay. Here's when people panties finna get in a bunch now. I said this. I forgot what he asked me, but I remember what I told. I said, look, all the things that Amazon is implementing now, facial recognition and whatever else, all that shit that they've been implementing over the past 2 years, the safety score and all that shit they've been implementing. I'm not finna go through all that shit. This is things they could have implemented 3 years ago, 4 years ago. Why don't you think why don't you think they did? If Amazon would have got tight on their structure, right? Processes, procedures, more than, I think about 50% or more of the people that were running during that time period wouldn't have been able to run, right? The reason why they laxed in comparison to their top two competitors from the logistics standpoint, which is UPS and FedEx, is because if they tightened up, they wouldn't have the service providers to meet the demand at that time. That's a fact. They knew majority of the people that were doing that weren't worth shit. They knew that. You think they did? You think they did not know? Look at all the shit that was going on. People leaving shit, dumping shit, pallets outside fucking post offices, abandoning routes, stolen pallets, all that shit, all that shit. And they let it go on. Now they hit a climax and they have an overabundance of suppliers. We ain't got to fire nobody. We just need to implement processes and procedures that we should have really had implemented during the growth phase, but we knew that if we did, we wouldn't have enough service providers to meet the demand. Now we don't have to meet that demand anymore, and we have enough people. We just apply some simple rules to weed people out. That's it. It's as simple as that. There's nothing complicated about it. They use people until they didn't need them anymore. And now that we don't need you, now we're just going to tighten up. You would think a company of that magnitude would have ran a tight shit. When you think about it, you would have thought they would have been tight. A company like Amazon, you would have thought that they processes and procedures would have been a little bit more stringent. They weren't. 180 days. Oh, you could be on the new and come in the door. Why? I just need bodies and trucks. We just need to shit off the dock. The more bodies, the more trucks, the more demand we can meet. We understand it's going to come with some costs. We understand it's going to be some bullshit, but that's a risk we're going to have to take because we growing exponentially and we got to meet the demand because we promised the consumer this. Then it even goes back further to understanding the mission statement of the company. See, this is why I say do a business plan. First thing in the business plan is going to be your mission statement. This is what sets me aside from all your favorite content creators. What's in Jeff Bezos' mission statement? What was Jeff Bezos, when he started Amazon, what was his number one main priority? I'm going to let somebody answer it in the chat. You running for a company and you don't even know what the company's mission statement is. What his main objective was. What was it? Happy to deliver. Happy to deliver, got it. Listen, don't come talking to me about no dumb shit. You come talking to me, you better know business. I'm talking business. I ain't talking feelings. I'm not talking emotions. I'm not talking dumb shit. I'm talking business. All that shit, leave that shit at the door. Not the door, the door. Leave that shit at the door. Listen, we're going to cut some corners on the back end to make sure the customer's straight. We already promised them 2 days. Shit, fuck it. We promising them 1 day now. So I done put my foot on the line and stuck my neck out promising these consumers this. So I'm going to have to run Pookie and Ray Ray and Man to get this shit done. But the first chance I get, because you know Man and Pookie, you know they safety score. You already know they, you know, but we need them right now. We need them right now. But the first chance we get, we getting them up out of here. How we going to get them up out of here? Rules. Shit that we should have had implemented that a company of Amazon's magnitude, you would think they would. But they did it, and this is the reason why. Don't get mad at me. Nobody owes you anything. You make it easy by complaining. And listen, once again, disclaimer, I'm only talking to the people who don't really understand business. You feel it in your heart, you upset, you're angry at me right now. I'm talking to you. The people who understand business, they agreeing with me. If you feel a certain time, I'm talking to you, which means you need to change your mindset or don't change your mindset. It don't make me no never mind. But if you don't change your mindset, I'm gonna tell you one thing: you're gonna continue to complain. You're gonna continue to scratch, claw, and complain. The industry is going to consistently change. The economy is going to fluctuate. Rates are going to fluctuate. The market is going to fluctuate. Nothing is going to go the way you expect it to go. It's always going to be ever changing. Nothing lasts forever in this industry. Everybody's going to put themselves first, and you will be used. The problem is the people who don't understand that they're being used are the people who suffer, complain, kick, claw, scratch, and come on the internet and leave ignorant comments the most. The people who understand, listen, this is a new platform. They're in the growth phase. We're getting paid exponentially well now because they need us, but eventually these rates are going to correct itself. And once they hit a climax, once the service provider sector of this particular platform hits market saturation, then the rates are going to go down. It happens in every sector, every single landscape. And you don't believe me? The internet is your oyster. Go have a look for yourself. What were you paying for an Uber ride? Let's look from the consumer's perspective now. We've looked, I've proved it to you from the service provider's perspective. Let's look at it from the consumer's perspective now. If you were taking Uber 10 years ago, think of a place that you took, or go in your Uber receipt. Look at a place that you went 10 years ago, or 9 years ago, or 8 years ago, or 7 years ago. And then see a ride that you recently took to that same spot. Is the rate the same? No, it's gone up. Go look. See what you were paying for Amazon Prime 8 years ago. I've had Amazon Prime since maybe about 2014, maybe 2016, some shit right there. Is Amazon Prime rate the same? Mm-mm. Go look at Netflix. I remember when I first signed up for Netflix. I remember signing up for Netflix in 2011. 2011, I think I was paying $7.99, if I'm not mistaken. Obviously, there wasn't, the type of blockbuster films that you got on there now. I remember the reason that I signed up for Netflix was for Snow on the Bluff. I wanted to see Snow on the Bluff. When everybody's talking about this Snow on the Bluff, well, it's on Netflix. You guys say, what the fuck? What the hell is a Netflix? Well, you got to go on Netflix. $7.99. $7.99? $7.99. $7.99. Now I'm saying $7.99 like it's a big deal because $7.99 in 2011 was a big deal for some shit that I didn't know what the hell it was to watch some movie. I didn't know what the fuck that everybody talking about. I paid the $7.99. And Netflix has been charging me every single month since 2011. I can't remember the month. But I can pull up my Netflix account, and if they go to history, it will take your ass back to 2011. I've been paying a Netflix bill since some month in 2011. But guess what? I ain't paying the same thing when I signed up that I'm paying now. I'm paying like $25 a month now for Netflix. I sure am. When I first moved in here, my cable bill was, I think, $100, $89, $99. I'm paying over $300 a month for cable. Now I don't even watch this shit. I don't even watch TV. Xfinity is just hitting my account the first of the month for $310. When I first moved in here, the package I think was $89.99. Now I'm paying $310 for some shit I don't even watch. You're just paying the shit. I'm paying more for Uber rides than what I was paying. Any service that I use, I'm paying more for it. I'm paying more for Amazon Prime. I don't even know what I'm paying for Amazon Prime. I remember seeing an email a year or so ago and they told me it was going up. I don't even know what I'm paying for it. I just know I'm paying for it. But it's more than what it was when I originally signed up for it. Now, from my understanding, the Amazon Relay guys are getting paid less. So the people who are directly associated in some type of way with my packages getting downstairs in the mailroom are getting paid less, but as a consumer, I'm paying more. Don't worry about it. I make my money back, in my investments. I'm an investor in Amazon, so don't worry about it. It's okay. It's okay. Don't worry about it. All you Amazon guys, I appreciate you guys. Keep up the good work. But winter's coming. Winter's coming. And if you know what I'm talking about, and I'm not talking about the winter, the season, Game of Thrones, winter's coming. Be careful. Pay attention. I'm paying more. Am I going to turn off my Amazon Relay? No. Why? Because I've already accustomed to using it now. That's the point. Charge a cheap fee initially. Get you accustomed to using it. Wipe out as much competition. Who else I'm going to go to get shit as quickly as I need it? For instance, my goofy ass just last night went to the gym, put my AirPods in my pocket, threw my gym clothes in the wash machine. I'm looking half the night for my damn earpiece. Took the shit out the wash machine to put it in the dryer. There it go right there. Some type of way I threw it in the wash machine. So guess what? I ordered one on Amazon. Just had to replace it this morning. It'll be here this evening. Where am I gonna get that type of service? I could run down on Michigan Avenue to the Apple store. But why I gotta do that? When they just gonna bring it to me, I can go downstairs in my flip-flops and get it out the mailroom. Apple can't even deliver their product directly as quick as Amazon can deliver it. Why? Because Apple has an Apple store on Amazon. Apple is using Amazon to fulfill. Apple has an Amazon store. They're relying on them for fulfillment. So if I go to Apple, they're telling me the next day. Amazon says the same day. I need it today because I want to go to the gym. So guess what? Am I going to cancel? No. Just going to pay it. I don't feel like driving. I want to go to, goddamn it, Doc B's or NIU or somewhere to get some fucking vegetarian sushi or some shit like that. I don't want to drive. I don't want to deal with valet. Come on, babe. Let's call it Uber. Well, man, I went to this same restaurant in 2018 and it was only $8.99, but now it's $30. All right, you know what? Skip it. We're just gonna just go open up some canned goods or something. No, I pay it. Why? Well, I'm gonna go hell at cab. I'm gonna be standing on the corner for I don't know how long. Why? Because ain't no cab gonna come. Cabs are far and few between now. What am I gonna do? I can't go stand on the corner and hail a cab. Why? Because they pretty much got them up out the way. So from a consumer perspective, I'm accustomed. So now that these companies are chasing profitability and they have you accustomed to utilizing their platform, you're just going to pay the higher rate because they got you accustomed to using it and they slowly increase the rates over time. Chasing profitability. So from a consumer perspective, and I've given it to you from a service provider perspective. Now take the information and do with it as you may. Hopefully I, provided some type of value to you. Am I trolling people? Absolutely. I'm trolling ignorance. I'm trolling people who don't want to do what's in their best interest and educate themselves. If you want to continue to be naive and think things are supposed to just fall into the palm of your hand and things are just going to work well for you and this then I get so tired of hearing about people complain that are supposed to be business people about business when everybody's interest is to make money. What are we talking about here, bro? Level up. I dropped the link for you. I'm curious to hear your insight on why you think companies should hemorrhage money because you sacrificed and you're loyal. I don't want to debate you. I don't want to argue with you. I'm just curious to hear your thoughts. I just want to hear your thoughts. I'm not going to debate with you. I'm not going to go into mark mode. I'm not going to go that way. This is not the point. I'm just curious to hear where your mindset is at. I'm curious. We can even utilize yesterday's topic as far as these leasing equipment finance places. Their objective is a return on investment. The higher the risk, the more they want on a return. Everybody's objective in business is to make money. Some industries, some companies, they prolong their profit because they're focusing on growth. And a lot of those companies that do that over a period of time, we call those disruptors. Amazon is a disruptor. The rideshare industry, Uber, Lyft, those are disruptors. They coming in to disrupt some shit. They have a plan. You're a part of their plan. You just didn't know it. Another case study. I always like to use this case of going back to the Amazon with look at the relay shit. I love this shit because they get mad at me. Ooh, the relay guys, they hate my guts. But here we are 2 years later. It's just one piece of the puzzle with relay that's going to end the puzzle for everything that I called. And you know what that is. Winter's coming. Be careful. Now watch this. 2 years ago, I said something. I said, look, Amazon has a history of creating a program and dissolving it. They've done it twice before. The most recently was their Final Mile. The same way they run Relay, same way they started Relay, they started DSP. When I applied for DSP, it was in 2014. What you see as DSP today, and it wasn't even DSP then, what you see today is not how it operated prior to 2017, 2018, end of 2017, 2018. What you see as DSP looks similar to Relay. It was people who signed up, and initially when I applied, the minimum you had to on board was 5 vans, right? And most of the owner operators that ran the Final Mile for Amazon during that time period were renting their vans. They were renting them from Ryder. They were renting them from Budget or Enterprise or Penske, whatever. And the same things that Amazon struggled with then, they struggle with Relay. What I didn't know then that I know now is that was proof of concept that they were using to build that infrastructure up to meet the demand, right, of the consumer while they built up their own network. It's just at that time, the case study that we have now, which is that we didn't have one prior because they were doing that and the AFP at the same time simultaneously. Now you have a case study, and I've said this over and over and over and over and over. And you have people that still want to fight it. They still want to fight it when the proof of concept is right there. They're not going to tell you this. Why? They didn't tell these people then. You don't believe me? Go look it up. There's articles about it. There's a multitude of people that were running the old platform that had to file for bankruptcy because they got a 30-day notice that we're dissolving it. If you didn't get an invite to come over and apply for DSP, then we wish you the best of luck. So all these guys that were running 20 and 30 vans, that had took out loans and all this shit to help this company continue to grow, because volume was constantly growing. Amazon's numbers were constantly growing year by year by year. And if Level Sports is still here, here's another great example that companies don't care. When I said, and I've done content on, I talked about my DSP story. When I sat in that meeting in Kansas City, Missouri, and I took that 5-hour drive back to Chicago, and during the 30-day period of me, going through the process, I realized it wasn't worth it. I didn't get enamored by the growth of Amazon and the volume. I just felt like what I had to do to get it up and going and what they required, it just wasn't worth it. And by the grace of God, I followed my first mind, because there's no telling that once they transitioned over to what they have now, if I would have got invited to come over or not. And even still, if I did or didn't, I would have probably had to file bankruptcy like so many people did. I kept in contact with one of the guys from Chicago that I met at that meeting that we went to down in Kansas City, because once they hit like a really, really growth takeoff, they did like a Midwest hire event where they, went in and pulled out applications from people who had been applying to run Final Mile for years. Like, remember, I said I applied in 2014. I didn't get the call to 2017. So I met a guy from Chicago, and he ended up still following through with it, and we kept in communication. And I told him when I think I'm gonna pull out. He kept going. He was one of the people that a year later had to file bankruptcy. Everything that he did to meet the demands, because one of the things that they told me at that meeting was like, okay, we need you to come in at 20. Well, I'm like, when I applied, there was 5. Well, that was like 3 years ago. It's 20 now. And within 30 days, we need you to ramp up to 10. And I'm like, well, how do you expect me to, get 20 vans in 30 days? He said, welcome to Amazon. That was his words. Welcome to Amazon. Right. So that guy, he ended up, not getting invited over to the new DSP, which he would have had to apply for that, have the working capital available, plus have the assets available that they wanted. I think it was 30,000. I think it was 10,000 in liquid cash, and I think 40,000 in assets. I could be wrong. Don't quote me. But with what he needed to get up and going and meet the needs of that contract, when they transitioned finally, he ended up having to go bankrupt. Did Amazon know that they were transitioning over at that time period? Of course, because it was years in the making. You just don't give a person 30 days and you got hundreds of thousands of vans. Was it bogus? Yeah. But at the end of the day, it's business. So now, looking at that, hit the like button. You got a case study. And not just this guy that I met at a I think we were at a Hyatt or a Hilton in Kansas City, Missouri, in the not the ballroom, but the conference room or whatever that Amazon had rented out. There's plenty of case studies of people with similar stories. Now you see the same shit happening again. It's like deja vu. You got people that say ignorant shit like Amazon ain't gonna want to pay the gas. Who says they paying the gas for the vans? They not paying the gas. It's a lease agreement. You have a proven case study right in front of you, and you too ignorant to go do your research to prepare yourself for what's about to come. So let me invite you to do this. Don't make me go on a week I told you so. I'm trying to help y'all. Don't give me a reason to go on a week I told you so. Prepare yourself. Don't be no person on the internet complaining. Don't be in these comment sections whining, fussing, and complaining. Start planning. It's not their obligation nor any other business's obligation to forewarn you if they don't want to. This big business. This is how big business. Listen. How do you think the richest of the rich get in the power? America was built on free labor. Slave labor, right? And we can argue this. We can argue this. Well, people have been taking advantage of people to enrich themselves since before we were born. It's the people that understand and know this are the people who do better. See, I don't rely on people or things. If I'm doing business or I'm having to deal with a third party or in between, I understand that I'm disposable. See, I'm not going to do what so many people continue to do and what so many people did 2, 3 years ago when things were and didn't realize that they were being used. I'm going to understand what's going on and understand the landscape and prepare, right? I'm going to take these overages, put them to the side, create a plan, strategize so that when this shit does turn, which I know it is, right? Because understanding business, I know that this company cannot sustain by hemorrhaging money over a period of time. Eventually, they're going to have to focus on profitability. And when they do, the rates that are magnifique now won't be then. So do what's in your best interest. Be a better business person. Look at things from a business perspective. Stop complaining because you only make yourself look crazy as a business person. As a business person, you make yourself look crazy because everything that I said is just basic business, return on investment. You can't get mad at a company for wanting a return on investment. They're not going to hemorrhage money forever. And Level Up, you didn't hit the link, but anytime you want to come up and have a conversation, we can have the conversation. No one cares. No one cares. You shouldn't care. Your main priority, main focus should be return on investment and keeping cash flow coming in. And that's it. People don't ever want to plan for extra money. I remember every time I got a raise at my job, my investment advisor asked me, "What are your plans for the raise?" The first time I was like, "Huh, exactly." Then he broke it down to me. You have to plan for the overage. Exactly what I just said. When things are going good, people get in the euphoric phase, which normally is a bubble, stage 3 of a bubble. And ignorant people don't plan with these overages that they have. They don't plan and they don't understand that this shit ain't gonna last forever. And then when the tide turns and things correct themselves, you get a flurry of people complaining. Everything that I've told y'all has all come into fruition. Everything. So figure this shit out. Peace.